All right, welcome back to another rendition of Math is Easy, step by step. So here we have an extremely complicated problem, and you really need to know how to do a bunch of different stuff in order to answer this one correctly. In my opinion, I would rank this up medium to more advanced type of question that you would see. Maybe some of the more difficult type of questions that you would see on the exam. So I would like to go over this question. I'd also like to go over test taking strategy. Um, After that, I would like to go over different information that you would need in order to answer this type of question, how to search on the internet to find worksheets that you can work on to practice these skills. This is a pretty tough, for these standard exams, this is a pretty tough question. I'm just going to jump right on into it. So here we go. A doggy's hair has an average diameter of 3.5 or 3 and 5 tenths times 10 to the negative 5 meters. What are the maximum number of doggy hairs that could fit on a microscope side by side without overlapping if the microscope is 50 millimeters wide? Write your answer in scientific notation to the nearest tenths place value. Okay, so I'm going to go back through this and read it again after we take a look at some of these A, B, C, D options. All right, so A, 2.0 times 10 to the negative 3. B, 10 to the negative 3. C, 1.4 times 10 to the positive 3. Or D, 1.43 times 10 to the positive 3. I'd like to go over test taking strategy after I try to highlight and explain in details all the things we're talking about in this word problem. To me, I don't do very well with word problems, so this could be a pretty difficult one for me. But as I go through this, I'm hoping to help you out. The first test taking strategy I want to tell you: eat food before you take your exam. Right? I think you can bring in some water. I can't remember if that is allowed nowadays, but you should bring in some water, but make sure you eat before you take the exam. Your mind, cannot work properly unless you've got energy to feed that mind, which is food. So please, first test taking strategy: eat some food before you take these exams. All right, I want to go over this in detail. I like to highlight some of the stuff that you just have to know. You just have to know this stuff. All right, so a doggy's hair has an average diameter of 3.5 times 10 to the negative 5 meters. This is a really important piece of the puzzle. Meters. What are the maximum number of doggy hairs that could fit on a microscope side by side without overlapping? Okay, we don't want to overlap on the microscope and have those little doggy hairs fall off the microscope, right? The microscope is 50 millimeters. Okay, so we're talking about meters and millimeters. Why? Okay, that's interesting. So there's going to be some conversion that has to happen. You're going to have to convert this 50 millimeters into meters and then write that in scientific notation. And a few other things we'll need to do, which I will go over in these next coming videos. All right. So again, what's really important, this is the question. Write your answer. This was asking the question. Write your answer in scientific notation. All right, so we got to write this in scientific notation to the nearest tenths place, right? So the nearest tenths place. So let's go through and read this one more time. I've highlighted some information. These word problems can be difficult, but when you organize the values and break them all down, it can get a little bit easier. A doggy hair has an average diameter of 3.5 times 10 to the negative 5 at scientific notation meters. What are the maximum number of doggy hairs that could fit on a microscope? That's your question. What's the maximum number that can fit on a microscope, side by side, without falling off, overlapping? If the microscope is 50 millimeters, so we got to convert that into meters. We're going to divide using scientific notation. And then you must write your answer in scientific notation to the nearest tenths place. So now you also need to know what your tenths place value is, okay? So there's a lot of stuff you really need to know in order to answer this particular type of question. Test taking strategy. First of all, what values are we looking at here? These are all scientific notation values, but you see answer B is just 10 to the negative 3. Boom, cross it off. Your answer has to be written in scientific notation according to the instructions. So it cannot be answer B. All right. Your answer has to be rounded up to the tenths place. Well, let's see. The tenths place is just to the right of that decimal. So this value is in the tens place. We see here 1.4 just to the right of the decimal. This is written in tens place. This may have been rounded up because the 0 kind of doesn't count. So 1.4, 0.4 is in the tens place. D is 1.43. So we have the tens place and the hundredths place included. Can't be, it's got to be rounded up to the tens place. Cross it off. Answer cannot be D. So as a test taking strategy, you just eliminated B and you've eliminated D just by knowing where the tens place is and how to write scientific notation. All right, so those, now you got a C or A. You got a 50% chance of you guessing this answer correct. This is a huge part of the test taking process. If you can eliminate a couple of options in order to just guess the answer correct, that is awesome. Listen, there are no penalties for guessing your answers, right? You're limited time to take this exam. The other test taking strategy I'm going to share with you is do the problems you know that you can do and answer right. Then go through, do the problems that you think you might be able to answer right. And then finally, before your time is up, go through, eliminate some options that you know cannot be possible, and guess some of those answers right. That's going to increase the odds of you passing this examination. If you want to practice some of these skills, go ahead. You can watch my videos on exponents rules, especially dividing, where you subtract the exponents. I have created a scientific notation for converting, the rules for converting to scientific notation and then vice versa, converting back into scientific notation. So go ahead and check out my videos on scientific notation. I think it's about a 4 or 5 part video. Of course, you want to search the internet for practice worksheets with answers on converting numbers into scientific notation and converting scientific notation into standard form numbers. Also, search the internet. Whoa, we got some shaking happening here. I apologize for that there. Search the internet for practice worksheets with answers on dividing exponents, right? So you want answers so you can check your work. If you get the problem wrong, go back, look, see where you made a mistake. Don't do it again. Learn from your mistakes. You'll become better at doing all this math stuff. And also, finally, it's important to understand, in order to answer this question I'm going to go over in these next parts, is how to convert. So unit rate conversions. For example, we're going to be converting millimeters into meters, right? So, or inches to feet, feet to yards, right? So search the internet for worksheets with answers for what's called cross products, worksheets with answers and converting unit rates. This will help you get stronger and stronger. If I've helped you, please help me. Like, follow, and share these videos. Thank you for joining me.